Welcome to another edition of Play It Through, and this time around it's 8 Eyes, brought to us by Texan and the Seta Corporation. Texan also did Mystery Quest and Fist of the North Star. Seta Corporation did The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and one of my least favorite games, The Castle of Dragon. Now this game is a Castlevania clone, and that's what they always say, and I agree with them, with an awesome soundtrack, and also elements of Mega Man. You can pick your level right off the bat, similar to Mega Man. Pick any level you want to go to, except for the final level, House of Ruth. And all the levels are based on, all the levels are different countries. And like Mega Man, after defeating, you're supposed to do the bosses in a certain order, because after defeating them, you're going to get an upgraded sword. And by getting an upgraded sword, you can then go on to the next boss and do better, more damage to him. Throughout the game, you're going to be collecting these scrolls, which I will be grabbing all the scrolls in each level just to show you. And they give you a hint. Now you're not going to be quite sure what to do with this hint, but each boss drops a certain jewel. Each one is the keeper of a certain jewel. At the end of the game, you must place all the jewels you collect, all 8 jewels, the 8 eyes, in the correct places in the pedestal at the end of the game in order to unlock the door and beat the game. Now the storyline for this game is apparently there was nuclear war, and at the site of the 8 bombs that were dropped in this nuclear war, a crystal, a gem, whatever, appeared in the crater, and those are the 8 eyes, the 8 crystals that you have to go around and collect. And I think what you're trying to accomplish is putting all 8 eyes on the pedestal of peace, I think it's called, in order to, I guess, gain world peace back into what's left of the world. The combat is very difficult, because you have a very, very short-ranged weapon. So you must learn how each enemy works in order to defeat them. Most of the time, though, you'll hit them, back away quickly, wait till they attack, and then quickly move in after the attack is over with, and then hit them. Now these big blue spherical things I've been collecting, other than, that weren't the scroll, there is an upgrade to your health bar. There's always enough in each level to get your health bar up all the way to the max full 10 bars of health. The end of my bar right now, the 2 last blue spots, those are ones I haven't gained yet. The problem with this game is, at every level you must regain all 10 of them, which for this run, I'll be doing all 10 of them in this level. I know where they all are pretty easily. And then for the other levels in the game, I'm only going to grab a couple, pretty much if I know where they are and it's right in my path. I'm not going to go out of the way to be grabbing them. This is the easiest level to get them all, though. There's some other upgrades in the game, such as an item that instantly restores all your health, and your item, which is the little white crosses I collect throughout the game. They bring up your item thing, similar to Mega Man. Once that's, you use that in order to use the certain items you collect, which is a mix of pretty much Castlevania. The item that's the most important item you're going to need in the entire game is the one I have right now, that snowball, because that allows you to freeze any enemy you hit with it for a few seconds. And with the bosses, you can use that in order to get about 4 quick shots in against the boss. Each boss, there's a strategy usually to use against them, and I will explain my strategy, at least how I do the different bosses when I get to them. There's also, you're going to see in a second, the cool element of this game is the fact you can also control your bird. And right there I was able to use the bird there in order to take out that enemy. You may wonder why take the bird off my shoulder, but the reason why I do so is because there are certain enemies in the game that can only be killed by the bird, which is very, very annoying if you don't know which ones can only be hurt by the bird, as well as, when you're trying to do quick combat, trying to get the bird off your back sometimes isn't necessarily the easiest to control. This game had that cool concept in that way, but unfortunately it doesn't always follow through with it and can sometimes be frustrating. Now here's the first boss. Your goal for this boss is to use up all the snowballs you've gotten and wheel in as many hits as possible, back away, throw another snowball, get in there with as many hits as possible, back away, hit with another snowball. By the time you've used all your items in the game, you should have them down to about what I have them. In which case, at this point, just go in and wail on them, or use the same strategy that you use against normal enemies. Hit, back away, wait for them to attack, and as soon as his attack's done, run in quickly and get in a good shot. And he holds the black onyx crystal. The interesting thing is after defeating each enemy, each boss, you somehow sit down and have a cup of tea with them. I guess that's how world peace is governed at this point in age. A skeleton will come in and give you cups of tea. Yep. Which I find humorous. I love the little sprites drinking tea. I think it's quite humorous. So I'll leave it in there for at least a few seconds each time. Now I'm going to be doing the levels in the order that is best in order to use the correct sword. So the second level here is Egypt. Overall, this level isn't too difficult. Probably the hardest level in the game, in my opinion, is Arabia in terms of the enemies, and then of course Germany and Africa because they are both mazes. But once you learn the maze once you've gone through it once or twice, learn how the maze works, you'll be good to go throughout the rest of it, and they're not as difficult anymore. But on the first playthrough of this game, those mazes can be a pain in the butt, no doubt about it. This is also another one of those games, like I mentioned in Friday the 13th, like you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit, and you're usually gonna get hit a lot against certain enemies in this game. I played this game a heck of a lot as a kid, and I'm using right now the bird is getting me the next scroll, which will give me the next hint. I already know where the jewels, I pretty much memorized where the jewels go, but I want to show you in the game where all the scrolls are so that you can get them if you ever, want to play the game. You can get all the scrolls and kind of figure out for yourself if you wanted to, the order in which the jewels go. But like I was saying, you're gonna get hit in this game, usually a lot. I played this game a ton as a kid, and I got really good at dodging a lot of the enemies, but I still get hit a lot. There's certain bosses in the game that I really don't have too much of a strategy for. I just kind of run in, hit them as fast as possible, and try not to die. That's pretty much what comes down to my strategy at certain points against certain bosses. Now these guys, those big green guys at the bottom, they do a good chunk of damage, so the best thing to do for them is to just avoid them at all costs. The jumping takes a little to get used to. It's not too bad though. Use the jumping to jump across these blocks I was using at the top here. Wait till the green monster walks across to the other side of the screen and then quickly jump and go down. These mudmen can be kind of annoying, which you don't have to kill that first one. The only one you pretty much have to kill is the one in the second. If you fall down to that bottom set of things, fish, these big fish type creatures, will come out and deliver some huge hits to you. Enter this door, and we're in another part of the room. Right now we're not going to have to worry about that panther at the bottom really. There is a boss that actually has a pet panther. So when we get to that boss, we have to encounter the panther, in which case I'll show you the easiest strategy in order to defeat panthers. These guys, on the other hand, thank God they only appear in this one level. They take 3 total hits to kill. They just always seem to get at least 1 or 2 hits on me. This game is also pretty good to have a turbo controller or use the turbo button. I will be using it mainly against certain bosses just to maximize the amount of hits I get on them. You can easily defeat any boss without it, but it's kind of useful. Now we're in the boss room. You can also build up your item meter if you want throughout the game. In this level, it'll help. This boss isn't really that tough once you figure out pretty much the basic mode, but you see how much damage I'm doing to him per hit? That's because I have the correct sword. If I didn't have the correct sword, I'd be doing a lot less. Now the strategy for this boss is he launches those 3 balls at you. After he launches all 3 of them, quickly go in, get a hit, back away, hold jump. Keep repeating this strategy until he has no health left. You're gonna get hit by a few of the magic spheres balls he throws at you, which is okay. Don't be too concerned with it. You're gonna get hit a few times, and if you have a good amount of health going into the boss battle, you should have very little problems. It's one of those things that just comes down to learning timing and how it works against the bosses. But, like I said, you're gonna get hit, so don't worry about it too much. After he's defeated, we grab the next jewel, which is a, like, pink-red ruby type jewel. And then we decide to sit down and have a nice cup of tea. Somehow he's now solid red. Don't really understand why, but he somehow changed colors on me. I guess I really don't care that much. And here we go, next level. Now right off the bat, run over to the right side here and grab